So I want to do the Mishnah on Yud Testament Aleph with the case of the Ben Ir, the Ben Krach, and the Ben Kfar. Okay. All right. What are these guys? So if you'll notice, by the way, everything we've done, by the way, every sugya I've done so far has been connected one way or the other. This is no exception. Okay. So you guys should remember this. What's a Ben Krach?
Somebody that's forced.
No.
A wall.
A wall. Okay. So a walled city guy. Okay. So you have one guy who lives in a walled city. And then you have Ben Ir. What's a Ben Ir? A regular city, unwalled city. And then what's a Ben Kfar?
A village.
Oh, Kfar means a village. Now, what's the idea of the Ben Kfar? There's a special halacha by a person who lives in an outer village. Okay, you guys remember this?
They read the Megilla on the 15th.
No.
14th.
No. Well, yes and no, but no. No.
13th.
Never.
No.
I'm guessing.
No. They can read the Megillah as early as the 11th of Adar. Okay? The 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th. Why? Because they go into the city to go shopping twice a week, Monday and Thursday. Right? So in order not to matriach them, in order to make it difficult for them, when they come into the city to buy their food, they can read Megillah then also. So if it came out on the 12th, they can be Yotzei Megillah. Okay? So you have Ben Ir, Ben Krach, and Ben Kfar. Now, what's the case that the Mishnah is going to take up? Okay, what's Modi'in? Modi'in. We'll use Modi'in in Yerushalayim. What's Modi'in?
To say an ear.
An ear. What? No, it's an ear, right? What's Yerushalayim?
Knowledge.
What's Yerushalayim?
It's a walled city.
A walled city. Right. We treat it like a walled city. Okay. What's the case the Mishnah is going to take up?
Some guy who's going from a...
Happens all the time. My friend David's coming for Shabbos.
Right.
Okay. He'll be here on Motzei Shabbos. Okay. He's going to be going back to Yerushalayim. So he's a Jerusalemite. Okay. He's a Ben Krach who's in a ear.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you do now? Before we read the Mishnah, just intuitively, what would you say? Let's say my friend David will be here for
Minigamakom.
Minigamakom. Okay, fine. So you'll say wherever you are, that's what you do.
Yeah.
Right? You agree with that?
Yeah.
Wherever you are, that's what you do. Right? Yaakov, you agree with that?
Makes sense.
Okay, not bad. So where?
Okay. No, because it doesn't matter. Because for that.
So, but therefore, what you're positing then is that David, who's really a Yerushalmi, is now defined as what?
Not defined as a person who lives in an ear.
A Modianite.
Right.
Right.
That's not true.
Why is it not true?
Because his classification is a Ben Krach.
So then he shouldn't read.
So he shouldn't.
Oh, so now you're retracting.
No, I'm saying you can go both ways.
Okay, pick a road though. What does your intuition tell you makes more sense?
Okay, my intuition says no, he should listen, but I'm just gonna go devil's advocate.
Devil's advocate?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you hear what he's saying?
Yeah.
No.
So he wants to say that the other way to go is to say that you're either a Yerushalmi or you're a Modianite. You can't be both. Right. So in other words, if I'm a Yerushalmi, which kind of doesn't, it's not crazy. Well, more than that, if David lives in Yerushalayim, just because he's visiting here doesn't make him into a resident of Modi'in, right? He's just visiting here. He's going to go back, right? Okay. Look at the Mishnah.
We even have that idea by people going back and forth Yerushalayim and America for Pesach and Sukkot.
That's right. But what makes the difference here is that you have a phenomenon where that's true. You're right. That's true. That is similar. It is similar. Right. It's similar. Yeah. So listen to this, but it gets much more complicated here. Ben Ir shahalach l'krach. Okay. So a Modi'in person goes to Yerushalayim. Ben Krach shahalach l'ir, or vice versa. Now here's the key word: im asid lachzor. Okay. Limkomo koren kimkomo. If in the future he will do what?
He'll go back.
Lachzor. Right. Okay. He'll go back to Yerushalayim, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Okay. Koreh kimkomo. What does that mean?
He reads in his place, meaning in Yerushalayim. If
right.
He's from Yerushalayim.
Right. So he would read like Yerushalayim. Okay. Okay. So what's asid lachzor mean? No, we don't know yet. So Rashi says before Gemara. Rashi was one tells us what it means then. What's Koreh kimkomo? Look at Rashi. Right? Ksuvas kimkomo ben Ir b'arba'asar ben krach b'chamisha asar. Right? So he's considered, right, kichovas mikomo. He's considered, it goes by the chova l'makom. Right? So if I'm a Jerusalemite and I'm in Modi'in, I'm always defined as a Jerusalemite. Mm-hmm. Okay? As long as it's asad lachzor. Okay? Okay, now take a look at the Gemara. Okay? Honestly, my main goal today is to get the facts down, because there's a lot to juggle. Here we go. Amarava. Lo shanu ela she'asad lachzor b'leila yudalet. So it's only a case where your intention is to return right, on the night of the 14th,
Okay.
right? Aval ein asur lachzor b'leili abasar kori mahin. But if your intention is not to return on the 14th, you read with them. Do you know what that means?
Yeah.
No, because you need Rashi for this. Okay, without Rashi, you cannot understand what this is talking about. So look at Rashi. Lo shanu de ben krach shehalach leir ve'asur lachzor limkomo kori b'chamisha asar v'lo rabba asar. Okay, so we're not going to learn out about which case. A guy from Yerushalayim, okay, goes to Modi'in. So when does Yerushalayim guy chayiv to land?
The 15th.
The 15th. Okay, now he's in Modi'in where they land on
14th.
the 14th. Okay, the asur lachzor limkomo. His intention is to return back to Yerushalayim. Okay, he reads on the 15th and not on the 14th. Okay, now of course, when does he have to actually be back in Yerushalayim?
The 14th night.
Okay, but no, at the very least he has to be back when?
Before the Chiyuv.
Before the right, by the 15th, right? For sure, he has to be back by the 15th.
Yeah.
Okay. Ella she'asid lachzor b'leil abasar. Okay, look at Rashi. Im kodem amud shachar yatsa min ha'ir hu diktani she'enot tzarach likros imam b'leil yudalad afa pisho deno sham ho'il uviyom lo yesham ein ze afilu pruz ben yoma. Okay, Rashi's giving you a plate full of stuff here. What does this mean? It means like this. Okay. My intention, okay, this is what's so critical. This is what's so difficult about understanding how this works. Okay, David comes to me for Shabbos this week. Okay, he says I am going to leave. Okay, Modi'in by 11 p.m. Okay, he'll leave by 11 p.m. That means he will be here when?
No, 12.
No, go backwards. He comes to me for Shabbos. He
Oh.
says, I'm going to return back to Yerushalayim. I plan on leaving Modi'in at 11 p.m.
Moshe Shabbos?
Motzi Shabbos. That means he's clearly going to be here for what?
For
Megillah.
Chiyuv.
Megillah. For when the Chiyuv in Modi'in begins.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, since he says, okay, I'm going to be leaving, okay, at night, all right, he doesn't have to listen to Megillah here. Okay? So even though I'm leaning Megillah here, all right, he goes back to Yerushalayim, and he's not chayiv to lane here, even though the chiyuv of Yudal has begun.
To be Yosef, you're reading?
Good question. We'll take that up. Okay, but for now, no. At this point, he won't be Yotzei.
Okay.
Okay, at this point. Okay? Aval, okay, so that's what asur lachzor means. Asur lachzor doesn't mean I'm going to go back at some point. Asur lachzor means that I'm going to go back specifically at night. Okay? Meaning that I'll be back in Yerushalayim before the chiyuv there starts. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, but Aval Eino said, Rashi says, oh, and then he says, excuse me, and he throws in an interesting word. He says, afilu, he says, Ein ze afilu pruz ben yomo. What does pruz ben yomo mean? You should know ben yomo from,
Ben Yomo means 24 hours.
okay, but here doesn't actually mean that, but it's the right idea. What does ben yomo mean here?
The next day.
More than that.
The Chiyuv.
Tom, let's go back to Tom for a second. Tom, if it's a kli ben yomo, okay, that means it's been used during that day, and what's going to happen when it's end ben yomo? The time goes away.
Yeah.
So ben yomo here means that he's a temporary, the same way it's temporary ben yomo, he's a temporary resident. Pruz ben yomo, he's a temporary resident of, so Rashi's saying he's not defined as a temporary pruz guy. Okay?
He's not.
Not, because his intention is to return back.
Right.
Okay.
That doesn't make you temporary?
No, it does not. Okay? That's what it
It should
is.
make you temporary.
What?
It should make you temporary.
Temporary means you would.
Oh, no, why? Why should it make it
Because he wants
temporary?
to go back.
What?
Because his intentions to go back.
So since his intention is to go back to Yerushalayim, why should he be temporary resident of Modi'in?
Because his intention is to stay there until he goes back.
Stay where? But he'll be back in time for his chiyuv.
Doesn't matter though. Right now he's staying there.
Oh.
Okay. So as it's back to that, you're back. You just swung back. Oh, that's fine. Okay.
Meaning like he's in Modine and he's thinking that he's gonna be in Yerushalayim for Purim?
Yeah.
Why does Das matter?
Oh, that's another great question. That's a great question. What do we care about guys' das? Okay.
About Meister, where he is.
As you have that. Well, right. Okay, fine. That's a good question. Why does it go by the guy's das? That's going to be something we have to take up. Why did das play such a big role here?
Because by the Megillah, the guy who lays it, he has, when he makes the bracha, he has to mind everyone for that reading. But if
Who's
the guy-
there?
Who's there, right? So if the guy's there and he's not, and he's then his intention may not be the same as what the guy who's reading has in mind.
Insofar as what? Because he's going to be going back.
Yeah.
Okay, but he doesn't have to even be there. The question is, does he even have to be at the Megillah reading? No,
What about, is there anything in Marsayan?
no, not even a shot here.
Alright.
I'm saying no one ever brings that up. Okay. Now, what's ein asad lachzor mean? Okay, not what you would think it means. Doesn't mean that his intention is not to return. Okay,
He's not sure.
Close. Aval ein asad latzes misham belayla. Okay, he's not going to leave at night. The hashta have a pruz also yom. Okay, afal pisha asad lachzor lemachar liyom nikra pruz. The koriman bein belel yudal bein biyudalad. Okay, so what's he saying? He's saying like this. He's saying that. Think about this. What's ein asad lachzor mean? It means that not that he's not going to go back, but let's say David's by me. Okay, let's say David's in Modi'in. Okay, and David says, you know what? I'm staying by you Motzi Shabbos as well. I'm not going to leave back to Yerushalayim until 9 o'clock in the morning. Okay, do you understand the difference? That's ein asad lachzor.
I'm spacing out. No,
Okay,
I'm spacing out.
there's the first case. Asad lachzor means my intention to return means what? It means that I'm going to leave at night. So I'll be here when the chiyuv of Yudal starts. But I'm going to make sure I'm going to be back in time for Tesvav. But let's say I say, you know what? I'm not going to leave until the morning.
All right.
David says, I'm staying by you, Motzi Shabbos. I'm not going to leave until 10 o'clock in the morning. Okay? So now he's here for both
Both chiyuvim.
nighttime and daytime. Okay? He's going to be here for both. So if he's here Lila V'yom, he's automatically defined as
Temporary.
a Pruz Ben Yomo, a temporary resident.
Temporary doesn't mean you have to do as they do.
Yes, but once you're Pruz Ben Yomo, then you do whatever they do. So therefore, and now you got to think about what's amazing about this. What's amazing about this? It's not that he actually left. Okay, he didn't leave. He's just saying, when David comes to my house and puts his stuff down and says, listen, Ginsburg, I plan on staying here just Motzi Shabbos at night, but I'm going to leave 9 o'clock at night, that he's defined one way. But if he says, my intention is to leave the next day, he hasn't left yet. He hasn't done anything. He's just saying, that's my intention.
What if your intention?
Do you understand what I mean? I'll put it a different way. Let's put it a more practical way. In other words, let's say David comes to my house and he says, I'm going to leave Motzi Shabbos, and his proof is I have a train ticket that says on it, my train's leaving at 11 p.m. Okay? He's not defined as a Pruz Ben Yomo. Right? But let's say his train ticket says 10 o'clock in the morning on the next day. What happens?
He's
He will
chayav.
be because he's
chayav. He becomes a Pruz Ben Yomo. Okay? Does that make sense? Just not a trick question.
No.
Why not?
What should having a train ticket have to do with anything? No, you know what I mean by saying that. What should that have to do with the chiyuv?
Right. What is Das doing here? Okay. Just to make things more interesting, by the way, the Rif, among other Rishonim, say that they don't even learn it this way. They learn it a worse way. Okay. They learn that. Let's say my Das was to leave. Okay. But I was in the Sakev. But let's say I couldn't make it out. Let's say a snowstorm comes in and I can't make it out that night.
I was about to ask that.
Right. I'm still not considered a Pruz Ben Yomo. We'll take that up though. Okay, yeah, it's wild. Yes.
I mean, not that Das should not matter, because Das does matter in some cases. It's just what makes him think that it should work here.
What's the equation here? That's what we have to figure out. How is Das working here? Okay. Okay. So is that clear so far?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So Amar Rava. So the Gemara then says this. The Gemara says Amar Rava mina amina la. So where do we know this from? Dichsiv al kain hayudim haprazim hayoshvim arei haprazos. So what do you see there? You see in the pasuk al kain hayudim haprazim hayoshvim ba'arei haprazos. What's strange about the pasuk?
Wait, going back to the whether it's a guy going here or here going there,
Right.
it wouldn't matter if he goes there,
What do you mean?
because then if he
You mean if you're
you already heard it. I mean, what is that?
Great question. Okay, Ezra hit on. I was waiting for someone to ask that. Okay, look at that. Look at the end of Rashi there. I didn't read it for a reason because I wanted to see someone would pick up on that. Rashi says in the Rashi of Avalin Asid. Okay, so he says v'hu adin. See where it says v'hei v'hu adin leven ir shehalach lekrach. It's the same halacha for a Modi'in person who goes to Yerushalayim.
Is it in the Mishnah or the Gemara?
Gemara, Aval Ein Asid, Rashi, where it says Aval Ein Asid,
okay.
it's like halfway down the Rashi.
Alright, yeah.
V'uadin leven ir shehalach lekrach im asid lachzor b'leilei tesvav. If his intention is to return the night of tesvav, shelo yesham yom tesvav, he won't be there during the day of tesvav. Lo havi mukaf liyomo v'koreb yudalid kichovas mekomo. Ve'af b'shehu b'krach aval ein asid lachzor b'leilei tesvav ein tzarech l'krosav yudal umantin v'kori moin af b'shesofer lachzor la'achar zman. What's very, let's see if we can figure out what's so bizarre. You just were hitting on it. What's strange about Rashi saying?
Well, your chiyuv's already passed.
Well, then that can't be the case, though.
I can't really I can translate.
All right, so let's go. Okay, so let's go slow. Okay, starting in Huadin, and this same halacha applies to a Ben Ir, a Modian guy who goes to the walled city to Yerushalayim. Im asur lachzor b'leilei tezvav. If his intention is to return, in other words, he says, I'm going to go to Yerushalayim, but my intention is to leave the night of the 15th to go back to Modian. Okay, ein sarach.
Shalom.
I'm sorry, I lost the spot. Shlo yehesham b'yom tesvav lo have mukaf liyoma.
That he's not going to be there on.
It won't be during the day. Okay, so what happens? Modian guy.
So, but it's already past his chiyuv from the ear. So did he already hear it? I don't
So
understand.
therefore, what's the implication?
That he already heard.
And therefore, what?
Would you have to hear again?
Yes.
Yeah.
Strange, right?
Yeah.
The case of the Ben Ir, who goes to the Ben Krach, seems to be a case of a guy who was already Yotzei his chiyuv on Yodalad.
Right.
But it seems like if he goes to the Krach and his intention is to stay there during the Laila B'Yom, what happens?
He will be able to take it.
Chayiv again.
Yeah.
Chayiv again.
Oh.
Okay? So that's what he's saying. He's saying, because it has to be that, right? Shlo yesham yom tesvav lo mukaf liyomo v'korb yudalid k'chovas mekomo. So he would read like he would normally. But again, he's in Modian on Yudalid. He's just saying, I plan on leaving Modian at a certain time and going to Yerushalayim.
Mm-hmm.
But he still has to read on Yudalid, right? If his intention is not to return during the night of Tesvav, ein sarach l'grosa b'Yudalid. He's not chayav to read it on Yudalid, meaning if he's in Modian. In other words, if I know I'm going to be going to Yerushalayim, okay, I'm going to be spending Purim in Yerushalayim, all right, and that's my intention from the beginning. I'm going to spend the entire Purim in Yerushalayim, right? It seems like Mustama that you would not lane in Modian on Yudalid.
Yeah.
So I'm here in Yudalid. I'm a Modian guy on Yudalid. I'm here, right? Purim starts. But I know I'm going to be in Yerushalayim for the entire. That's my intention to spend the entire Tesvav there, right? Umamtin v'karimayin afbi shesofer lachzor lachazman.
Wait, so there's no chiyuv for you on the Yadalit, right?
At this point, that's why you have to read Rashi now.
If your intention is completely to go to Yerushalayim. Then let's say
He says,
let's say like the snowstorm.
Ein sarach l'grosa
And
b'Yudalid.
let's take it back to the other one. Like the snowstorms and then happens Yadalit night, and it's already past the chiyuv for Yadalit, right?
Then you got a problem.
Then you never had the chiyuv ever
Well, it's a problem.
because you can't go.
It becomes a problem.
Is it a problem or is it just
I don't know
there
yet.
was never
We
any
don't know
chiyuv?
yet, but that's a great. You're hitting all the right points. That's a great question. It's a great question.
Okay.
I think one of them is shown to mention a case of if you're cityless, right? Let's say like you're wandering in a forest, like a desert or something like that,
Nomad.
right? Right? Like let's say I think the case of the desert. Let's say you're in the desert, right? Are you chayiv in Megilla? What would you say?
No.
No.
Seems to be based on cities.
Right? You had to be in a makom, right? You had to be in a fixed makom. If you're just wandering,
It's because of a Pearson.
why?
There's no Pearson.
You know I love that word. So
So
Win-win.
You don't be chayv any mitzvah?
well, who cares? Why should that make a difference?
Because that's part of why.
Well, say 10 people are in the desert.
You don't be
You
chayv
get
any
minyan.
mitzvah?
Yeah, maybe.
Any
you would.
mitzvahs?
A Purim?
Maybe you would.
Certainly not
They all
Megillah.
stem from the Megillah, right?
No, but this Rishon says it wouldn't be. I think it's a Ritva, but
They all stem from the Megillah, right?
So what is it about
Yeah,
a place
yeah.
that makes?
that's what we have to define. Okay, I just want to finish the Gemara to get all this stuff down. So then the Gemara says this. The Gemara says, okay, so the Gemara then says, so Amar Rava, Menam Minallah, Dichsiv Al Kain HaYudim HaPrazim HaYoshvim Arei HaPrazos. Again, the pasuk says Al Kain HaYehudim HaPrazim HaYoshvim B'Arei HaPrazos. What's strange about that pasuk?
So
What's being repeated there? Al Kain HaYehudim HaPrazim HaYoshvim B'Arei HaPrazos.
right, Prezos.
So the term paras is repeated.
Yeah.
Of course, the Jews who are in the prazim are the ones who live in the.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Gemara says, "Michdi ksiv hayudim prazim." Right. So once the pasuk says the Jews of the unwalled cities, lamili lemichtav hayoshvim marei prazos.
Right.
Right. Hakam mashalan de pruz ben yomo nikra pruz. Okay. That's the big chiddush. So if you're in a unwalled city, right, you have the potential to become defined as a pruz ben yomo.
Yeah.
Meaning that this pasuk teaches you an important idea. You have the ability to become a temporary resident of a city. Okay, depending on which city you're in.
Same halachos by Ben Kfar.
Say it again?
By what is it called? Ben Kfar.
We're not up to the far yet.
Oh.
We're going to get that in a second. Okay? So the Gemara then says, so I understand, the Gemara says, I understand by pruz, right? What about by mukaf? Okay, so the Gemara says it's svara. See, the Gemara uses the word svara. What does svara mean in Gemara lingo?
Logic.
Right, meaning that if you're telling, what's the Gemara going to say? If you're telling me that it applies by the pruz, right? Me the pruz kari paros, mukaf kari mukaf. So the same thing applies with the krach. Okay, Good. Okay. V'amarava. Next, ben kfar shahalach le'ir. Now comes an interesting case. Now you got the third category. The guy lives in the village. Okay. What day is the village guy chayav to read on?
Many days. Well,
okay.
he could be many.
What's his chiyuv though?
Probably the 14th.
Oh, good. Let's assume the 14th for now. Okay. He was on the 14th, but he can read earlier because he comes into the city to read earlier, right? So ben kach uben right? It's irrelevant what his intention is. Kori mahen. Okay. So what's the case of the ben kfar? So look at Rashi, great Rashi. Okay. Ben kfar shehiktim the karli yom knisa. So he reads on, let's say, the 12th. Okay. V'achar kach halach li'ir v'hayasham le'yadalet. So again, what does he do? He goes to the city. Right. So let's say you have a guy who lives. Pick a, I don't know what kfar
So
today.
hypothetically, these guys could be chayav Megilla 3 times.
Why?
If they went from, his intention was to go to the city for that night, and then also Yerushalayim after that.
That's a good question. I don't know.
You do it.
Possibly, but I don't know. The question is with the chiyuv bichal. I don't know. I got to think about that. In order to answer those questions, you have to have a svar.
Like for whatever reason, your business
I hear
has to be that.
a good svar will answer all those questions. Okay, that's good. I like that. So if this guy comes in on the 11th, the 12th of Adar, reads Megillah, and then says, you know what, I'm going to go back again to Modian. Okay. So what ben kach? Rashi says aval asud lachzor v'latzis misham kodem hayom kori ma'am b'layla. Okay. So I'm assuming afilu. No matter what, no matter if his intention is to return or not return, no matter what, if the ben kfar is in the city, he has to read with them on Yudal. Okay. So that's the anomaly. So the first thing I want you guys to think about is that if you want to open up this area, is think about the ben kfar first.
So the main chiyuv would be for cities.
What do you mean?
That's why even though he heard it already, is he staying the night?
He's staying the night.
Oh, he's staying the night.
It's irrelevant.
Irrelevant.
If the ben kfar came in on the 11th of Adar, he heard Megillah.
Yeah.
He says, you know what? I'm going to go visit some relatives on Yudalad. Goes there on Yudalad. It doesn't matter how long. He plans on staying there for 5 minutes, but it's certainly going to be there when Chiyuv Megillah starts. He has to read with them as well. Okay, he has to read with them as well. That's a funny thing. Why should that be the case? Why should that be the case?
Regardless of whether they're staying there.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, good. So beautiful.
That's the real pursuit.
You hit it right in the nose. That's like a bullseye. Okay. So what Ezra's saying is that, and this is the main step I want to take today. Okay. What Ezra's saying is that ultimately is that what makes the ben kfar different than the ben ir? Intrinsically.
That he doesn't have the real chiyuv of the 14th.
No.
I'm sorry. He can read it.
Let me rephrase the question. Is the ben kfar really different than the ben ir?
No.
They have the same exact chiyuv. And what's the chiyuv?
14th.
The 14th. It just happens to be that there's a what?
Difference in.
Yeah, but how is it structured? It's a kula. The Gemara says it's a kula.
What's kula mean?
Like mekel, like leniency. There's a leniency by a ben kfar that he could read earlier, right? But if he's going to be in the ear on the 14th, right? What's the Gemara telling you?
Got it.
Why?
Chiyuv.
Why?
That's the ikr.
That's the chiyuv, and he can't make use of the leniency anymore. You know what I mean? Whereas the leniency can only be made use of if he's in a situation where he requires a leniency. But if he's doing an action that demonstrates he doesn't need the leniency, because really a ben kfar is really a ben ir. He's a ben ir with a what do you call it?
His leniency is because he brought in the food, right? So
yeah,
What do you mean? Yeah, that's why he gets the leniency.
I'm saying so. It makes sense because it's not relevant anymore. Leniency doesn't matter. You were able to show up when you had to.
What do you mean?
Like you were saying that it's the ikr is the 14th. So
in other words, a ben ir and ben kfar both have the same exact chiyuv, and that chiyuv is to lean on the 14th. There's no difference between them intrinsically. They're the same creature, right? And just that Chazal came along and said, you know what? They have a special kula, okay, and their kula is that they can read even earlier than the 14th, okay. But if they do something, if the ben kfar, he makes use of his kula, right? He goes ahead and and lanes on the 11th in the city. He makes use of it, but then goes back on the 14th, right, to the city. What's he demonstrating? What does that demonstrate?
he didn't really need to go on the 11th.
Right. I mean, he doesn't need the kula, so the kula falls away.
Yeah.
You understand? So that's why. But that's a good opening, because what does that tell us? It tells us that that if you want to make one step past that, okay, what's the difference between let's say the phenomenon of the ben kfar and the phenomenon of the ben ir / ben krach? Remember, the Gemara says ben kach, no matter what, he has to read.
Oh, that doesn't matter about their intention.
Okay, good, right? Whereas as long as the what is the gilui das? What does gilui das mean?
Revealing das.
Good. What is the revelation of someone's das? What is the gilui das that makes a person into a pruz ben yama or a mukaf ben yama?
Whether he needs to make use of his kula.
No, that's the ben kfar. I want to know what the other guy is. That he's what?
He's going to be there.
For how long?
For that night.
And
be chayiv.
No, and the night and the what?
Oh, and the day.
And the day. In other words,
and then you'd be chayiv.
That's the contrast here. In other words, we're saying is that the chova of your makom is going to be tied to Laila V'yom. There's going to be some sort of idea of you being there for nighttime and daytime. That's going to be critical insofar as understanding how this works. Okay, but the main point I want to get across right now is to figure out. This is the opening to the sugya. The door, just to open the door a bit, is that understand that ben kfar is really intrinsically is no different than a ben ir. It just happens to be because of a certain kula he can read earlier. So therefore, if he does an action, if he's in a situation where it's clear that he's not making use of the kula, he's chayv to read on Yodal.
So you can say that why then only the night and the day, which you have to be chayv.
Okay, good.
Because the acre is the night and the day for both.
So now you have a big problem. Because according to one side, because think about it. Good segue also. Okay, there's another question I'm going to put a lot of questions here. Another question to add onto the pile. It's clear according to the way Rav is learning, Rashi's version of Rava, is that if I'm there at nighttime, okay, now think about this. At nighttime, okay, the Chi of Megillah has begun. Okay, right? Okay. Because you read at night and you read during the day. Okay, so Chi of Megillah is
So is it one Chi or two?
Hold on, don't get ahead of yourself. Hold on. So the question is that you're there for the first part of the Chiyuv, right? But for whatever reason why, it's only when you've missed, only when you're there for both nighttime and daytime reading, that you're not defined as a pruz ben yomo. Okay? Now, why would you think it should be the case? Now talk. Why would you think that should be the case? Why should that be the case?
Because the only reason you would be chayav in the night is if you could do the full mitzvah.
What do you mean?
A Purim.
Why is it the full mitzvah? Interesting.
Because it's part of that day, the 14th, the night and the day are complete part. They're one whole.
Right.
You can't do half.
Okay. So it's interesting. So no one says that. That's not a crazy idea. It's just the opposite of what. I'll show you in a second why it's the opposite of that. You'll see why. But there's a machlokes about what. Let me ask a question. Do we say Shechianu when do we say Shechianu for the Megillah? Everyone agrees. The night. Now, do we do it the day also?
No.
Some people do.
Well, everyone today the minhag is for everyone to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. There's machlokes Rishonim about whether you do it or not. Okay. Tosfos says you do not. Excuse me. Tosfos says you do. Right. What do you call it? The Ram says you wouldn't. Okay. The reason why Tosfos says you do, another Rishonim, is because the reading of the Megillah during the day is the lashon use, the Iker Kriya. The Iker Kriya. The Gemara says that you're chayav to read at night, v'lishnosa bayom. So a lot of them want to learn out the Iker Kriyas during the day. Just on a factual level, why would you do the Iker Kriyas during the day and not at night?
Well, that's when they actually celebrated.
Okay, not bad, but you're on the right track.
That's when they,
What most people say today to get out of the machlokas is that when you say the Shechianu on the second day, you should have in mind what?
The Suda.
The Suda, the mitzvahs of the Yom.
Right.
Okay?
So then, but if you say that, that's all really like one mitzvah kind of.
You mean according to the other way?
Yeah.
But hold on, you're pinging too fast. All right, the ball's going poof, poof, poof.
Okay.
Just take the one side first. But hold on, let's just bring that out a little bit. So if you're going to tell me that the Iker Kriya is really during the day, right? Why should it be during the day? Because it kind of makes sense intuitively. Because what should you do? You should be Korah Megillah, and then what?
And then I have those two.
Exactly. It's a response to the Kriya,
Yeah.
right?
Cool.
Right. Goes one to the other, right? But then the question is, what's the purpose of the night Kriya then?
Right.
Okay. Now ping to the other side. Okay. Now the other side saying that, which is the Rambam. The Rambam saying what? So the Rambam saying there's two, what?
2 parts.
Right. Two equivalent chiyuvim.
Yeah.
Right. There's no difference between the what do you call it? The chiyuvim.
and the.
They're two separate
They're both acre.
but equal, so to speak, obligations to read Megillah. Right. Well, so you can't be both ikar. Both things can never be ikar. You can only have one ikar. because that's an essence.
Okay, fine.
Right, but they're equal. Okay, there's no difference between them. They're both equivalent kiyumim of there's two chiyuvim of kriyas Megillah on Purim, right? That's easy, right?
Right.
So but if you say that, then according to the Rambam, okay, just don't go too far ahead of yourself. But think about this. Apply to our case here, right? What should the Rambam differentiate
then
between?
Then you would have to stay for that night.
Oh, it would make a difference.
No, you'd say you'd be chayav.
Right, well, it should make a difference,
regardless of whether you're ten.
Good. You're getting this. Good. Okay, now but go back to the other side. Okay, so if you tell me that the ikr kriya is during the day, so what's the point of the night kriya? Now you gotta come up with a svara for that. Why read at night then?
I thought.
No.
Was it easier to do at night?
What does that mean?
Was it more accessible?
What's more accessible at night? You mean more people show up?
Yeah, it was easier for people to do.
That's like a Ner Hanukkah type thing. But why? But why have it at all? Well, if you're telling me the ikr things during the day, then why even have a night kriya?
It's the same reason why you give them the 11th, 12th, 13th day.
No, that's different. So that's
Not the same exactly, but the same idea that like.
No, but that's more of a
easier
kula
for them.
But why? No, but I'm saying, but you still have to go during. You still have to have a day kriya.
Do you have to, or
Yes.
only if you're able to?
No, you have to have the day kriya. That's the essential kriya. But we also have a night one. So why? Why would you say? You gotta think a little, conceptually here. Why would you say? A little conceptually. What's in a kriya then?
Pirsumim?
Good, but because why? Because you can never lose with Pirsum, right? But how? You're right. But what's it really doing?
Like a preparation
For what?
for the
Yeah.
ikr. The next
No.
day.
It's showing
Why?
you.
The next day.
It's showing you the full scope of the day.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Meaning like, it's showing that the Pearson is from day to night, night to day, all day long.
Okay. Can I take that one step
It
further?
starts
You
at
may
night,
have-
right? Doesn't
Yes, it starts at night.
You may
So what
take
you're really saying is that you're saying your kovea the yom is one of Pearson.
Yeah.
In other words,
you can
what's
say
the first?
If you did nothing, then
Was that? Does it sound better?
it does sound
if you did nothing on the night,
Come
then
out like
it wouldn't seem like it's part of the.
Right, exactly. What you're doing is, I agree, but what you're doing is like this. Think about it. The way the law is structured is the first thing you do, and the fact the Gemara, the Mishnah is very machmir on it. In other words, even if you're learning, you stop learning as soon as the mitzvah Mikra Megillah comes, you have to do it. Okay? So Tosfos would say, why? Because he would say, because at the first opportunity, when the Yom first starts, the first opportunity you have, you must be Kovea the Yom as a day of Pirsum. It's not a question in the Maisa mitzvah. That's what the Ikr Kriya is during the day. It's that the Yom she wants is defined as Pirsum. So how do you define the Yom as Pirsum?
Megillah.
The first thing you do is Megillah. The first thing you do in the day is Megillah. So now you know this is a day set aside for this nace. Okay? It gives the whole day a certain character. Right? But that's not the Ikr Kriya though. The Ikr Maisa Kriya is really tied to the mitzvahs of the Yom. So it's one overall idea. But you can have an idea of a Kriya that's a
Did they say
Kiyum.
why it's tied to the Yom? Because that's the day.
What do you mean?
Because that's when they celebrated.
Yeah, for sure. So that's how I would say on a cursory level, that's machlokas between those Rishonim, right? Okay, so why is that important here? Because if you read Rashi's way of learning, it would seem to indicate that the reason why, and the Rishonim say this, the Ritva says this, the reason why the person, if he's there at nighttime,
The kfar.
right, but he's there at night, doesn't have to lay with them, is because he's going to be the Ikr Kriya is during the day. But if he's Lala of Yom, since Yom is the Ikr Kriya, right? That's why he what have to
No,
lay
it
with
doesn't
them.
matter if he's not going to say that the night.
Who?
The kfar guy.
Not the Kfar, sorry, not the Kfar. I meant the Krach ear.
Yeah, the Krach.
Not the Kfar guy. Kfar guy is different because Kfar, he's really Ben ear. It's just that he has certain kulas that apply to him.
Okay.
Right?
The krach. Alright. Because you have to be there for both.
Right, exactly.
Because